College is more than a place. It's a journey. Welcome to the Night Show, where we explore the moments and ideas that shape us and the impact we make through conversations with Green Knights and other inspiring voices. In this episode, we're talking with someone who likes to stay under the radar at St. Norbert College, but he might have the deepest connection to S&C in terms of pride. Introducing Nick Patton, picture book artist, author, graphic designer, and the creator of Norby Knight. Nick, thanks so much for joining us. I know you don't necessarily like talking about yourself, so I appreciate you coming on.
I don't know. It's just, you need an introvert on the show, right?
Yes,
you just
exactly.
Need somebody to,
exactly.
Short answers, keep it simple. Yeah, I get it.
For people who don't know Nick Patton, he is on our team here at St. Norbert in the Office of Marketing Communications. He's been here for a long time. You grew up in De Pere.
Yes.
You went to St. Norbert, and now you've stayed, and you love it so much that you've stayed here for almost 23 years?
Yeah.
Okay.
That sounds about right. I don't say the actual, it's 20-ish years now,
20-ish,
right?
okay.
I figure then when it gets to 30 years, then they say 30 years, and that's hopefully then I'm gone.
I think you're selling yourself short. All right, so let's talk about your role at S&C and how your role has kind of evolved over time.
Sure. Well, it has evolved and it hasn't, because I came here as an employee as a graphic designer. So my job was a visual storyteller. And that is exactly what I do today, right? I'm telling St. Norbert College's visual story. And so programs have changed, styles have changed, how we communicate to prospective students and alumni has changed. But at the core of it, it's still telling that St. Norbert story, focusing on the student and making sure that the student is, that's why we're all here. So telling prospective students the amazing opportunities that are here and reminding alumni why this is such a special place.
Absolutely. Now, when people see the work that comes out of St. Norbert, we have two different graphic design artists on our team, Laura Treichel and Nick. Nick, you are in charge of, correct me if I'm wrong, athletics and enrollment, admissions. Okay. So when people see the basketball programs and football programs, at games, that's you. If you're getting emails from enrollment, that is you. What am I missing?
No, that's about it. That's not about
it. That's not it.
But yeah, that's the core projects that I work on.
Okay.
So admission marketing, prospective student marketing, and athletics, and everything in between. It's a small team, so and throughout the years I've done just about everything. So I've worked on advancement as well back in the day. So I do a little bit of everything. And that's what I love about this job, is that you get to do a little bit of everything. And there must be some weird project some idea that comes up either from me or from somebody else, and you get to work on it. Doing a show like this is something fun that I got to do recently, where we get to kind of design this whole thing together with the team here. And make this happen, which is fun.
Yes, and I'm going to give a little shout out to you, because you are the creator of our logo, the Tonight Show logo, and you did help design the set, and you helped come up with the name, and we are very thankful for all the work that you did to help make this come to life.
Yeah, it's always, so when you say you do, and you're the visual identity for admissions or whatever, it's always a team effort, right?
Yes.
Between the people, the small little committee we had for this project, you're a piece of that, and you work together. So, yeah.
And we wanted to have your influence on the podcast because you have a lot of experience with podcasting. Can we talk a little bit about that?
Sure. I started a podcast probably was 10 years ago.
Before podcasting became a big thing.
Yep. Before, everybody had a podcast. It was something that was around, and I remember coming into my boss's office and saying, we should do a podcast. This is going to be great. And then, 10 years later, we start this thing. So it took a little while, but Yeah, I started my own based off of picture books, and got to interview amazing people, and it was so much fun. It's like you get an hour where you get to make a new best friend.
Yeah.
And I really
Does that mean we're
going to
become best friends?
We're in an hour.
Okay. All right. I feel like stepbrothers.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry. Please keep going.
So yeah, I got to, I did everything from soup to nuts. It was not video recorded back then. I mean, podcasts, always it was audio, and so, but to get the guests and to set up the questions and all the technical stuff of editing the audio, but that hour that you spend talking to somebody about something that they love. It's really special and really fun. So I hope you're getting a little bit of that on the host. I like being the host too, because like if I say something stupid, I just cut it out myself. We're here. I'm not sure what you guys are going to do with this. So
for background knowledge, we don't cut much out. So
okay.
now you love storytelling and you love picture books, and that's the premise behind the podcast, right?
Yep. It was something that started a long, long time ago, and it started here actually at St. Norbert, which most of my stories do because I spent most of my time, most of my life was spent here. But it was, so when I was a student, I never thought about illustrating. I mean, I was in the art program with an emphasis in design. So I did paintings and I did the classical stuff that you do here. But most of my effort was in graphic design. But my first year out, I was working here as a graphic designer, and I still knew a lot of students. And I knew an education major, and she had an assignment where, and I don't know if they still do this or not, but it was a great assignment where they had to write a story and illustrate it, or they could get somebody else to illustrate it. And she asked me to do it. And I thought, oh yeah, that sounds like fun, not realizing like, that it's not an easy thing, especially if you want to do it well. And so I took that project, and it was hard, and I loved it. And then pretty soon you find yourself at Barnes & Noble looking through the stories that are out there. And I just sort of fell in love with, it's kind of the combination of storytelling, graphic design, and art. And I love that you can package it all together in this one thing for children, which is such a beautiful audience. We can talk about that more later too if you want to. But it just, since that project and since going into that Barnes & Noble and picking up, I think it was Don't Let the Pigeon Drive the Bus just came out. So that book just blew my mind, as like what you could do with a story in a book form was amazing. And I just thought, wow, this is something that I need to do something with.
And then that's where it all started.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And ever since then, I've been, putzing away at stories and, being involved in the community, obviously with the podcasts, but then with the Society of Children's Book Writers and Illustrators as a member there, and, being parts of communities, taking classes, lots of writing classes, art classes, learning, taking what you learn from your time here as a student, but then just continually learning and leveling up and hopefully getting better.
Part of the mission here.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
You lived it out.
It starts, your education, I don't know, but I always felt like my education started here. But, obviously every day you're growing, and hopefully you're growing and you're learning and you're changing and you're getting better at what you do. Yeah.
I would say, I'm not an artist, but I would say you have, and you've showed that throughout your career. Let's circle back because I want to come back to this, but we're leaving something really big out. So St. Norbert, we are the Green Knights. Mm-hmm. Our logo is a Green Knight, and as time has changed, we have named a mascot, and Nick is the person behind that. So I don't know the whole story behind Sir Norbert, and then it became Norby Knight. Okay, so let's just talk about the very beginning. Let's talk about the resurrection of Norby Knight.
I'm going to ask you a question.
Oh, okay.
So in my mind, there's Norby Knight, which is the school mascot that runs around, right? Yep. and then there's the Green Knights and the Green Knight marks. So do you want to talk about the Green Knight marks, or do you want to talk about just the mascot?
Whatever came first.
So first came the Green Knight marks. And first it was, I don't know the exact date. My guess is somewhere in the 80s, maybe early 90s. A graphic designer or illustrator drew a picture of a knight on a horse, a charging knight. And it was used as the athletic mark for lots of years. And it was great, and it was beautiful, and it's a great mark.
Is that the one that a lot of alumni might recognize that was on the Schultes wall?
Yep.
Okay.
It was on the Schultes wall. It had like clouds of dust.
Okay.
And it was based off of a drawing. And over the years, technology came, and we tried updating it a little bit so that you can put it on stuff, right? You can put it on a T-shirt. You can use it more. But then they decided that we're gonna just do a refresh and update of that, and then expand out into like a whole suite of designs that we could use for athletics, but then as a general, more casual identity for the college. And so we developed that, and it was a process, a committee process, and then a lot of feedback from athletics, and it was a great project. I was younger then, and stressed out a lot about it a bunch, because it was like something I cared about a lot, right? I mean, I love that drawing, and I understood why it needed to change. But
you felt pressure though.
I felt like, oh boy, I hope I don't screw this up and we're not redoing it in the next 2 years. But at you go through the process, and you go through the changes, and we came up with something that was fairly strong. And what's been fun about it is like there's still a charging knight, so a knight on a horseback, and there's like a monogram now, and a block monogram that's used, and other knight logos. They're like a block monogram with a knight above it, and it's so fun to watch. Like some years, as things change, like sometimes the monogram's the big thing. Sometimes the charging knight's the big thing, and it just sort of, I think the suite has held up because it's so versatile. So a couple years after that, we decided that we wanted to do a mascot that would be more flexible than just those marks, that could be illustrated doing whatever we wanted to do, that could be in the real world as a mascot that would run around and be, the school spirit for the school.
And around what year was this?
Oh boy. I would maybe like 2010-ish.
Okay.
Don't quote me on that.
Okay.
But yeah, I think 2007 the athletic marks came on, and then I think around 2010 the mascot was fleshed out.
Okay.
So yeah, and that was a committee thing too. So it was not I was the lead designer on that, but there was a committee of alumni, student athletes, or a student athlete, an alumni, staff, and we all got together and brainstormed, and that was super fun because like pressure off to something that we never had before, and I went a little nuts with like all the designs, or like I was looking at some notes back there that I don't even remember this, but there was a note that said, what if it was a fox and it was called Foxy the Knight or something like that.
For being on the fox river.
Right.
Okay.
Right. We went everywhere. There was a squirrel design once, like a white squirrel. Like
we have a lot of squirrels on campus, in case people don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. So I had a lot of fun with it. And then we circled around, the more traditional knight designs and look and feel that was based off that original 80s drawing still, that I'm really proud that we kind of kept that whole series together. And we brought it to the campus. I think we brought some names like you were talking about. Sir Norbert and Norby were two of the names. I think there might have been four names, and we brought three designs that were fairly similar. I looked it up. I got it.
Oh.
I brought it. I was just like 5 minutes before I came here. I printed it out. I found it. I wanted to find like the more fun, like all the drawings I did that were just crazy drawings.
Okay, let's see them.
I'll show this. These are the 3 that were shown to the campus, and I'll let Tom, like, you want me to put it over my face? So I'll let Tom, like, show this better to you guys. Yeah, those were the 3 that were shown, and we let people vote on what they wanted for the name.
Whole campus.
Yep, the whole campus, everybody. I don't know if alums or it was just current students, but the campus community definitely voted on it, and they picked like the big strong guy, and they picked Sir Norbert.
Okay.
For the name, and then we went and found a mascot company and developed it. And I remember in this original design, the big strong mascot character that they liked didn't have. It was like a white eyes, no eyeballs, no black dots for eyes. And I remember at the last minute we were like, wow, we just really need those black eyes. And I think that really helps the character soften them up a little bit so it doesn't look like Batman. It was a super fun project. So we worked with the mascot company, revealed the mascot. When people started interacting with the mascot, Sir Norbert kind of got left in the wayside because everybody just called him Norby. I think when we originally launched him, we said, here's Sir Norbert, and we said his nickname was Norby if you want to use the casual identity for him. But it's like me, my name is Nicholas, and I can't get anybody to call me Nicholas. My mom doesn't call me Nicholas.
Okay.
So, and people just laugh at me when I say, like, hey, they're like, there would be 2 Nicks in the room. Well, you can call me Nicholas. And I'm like, no, that's not going to happen. So I feel like that's the same thing with Norby. He's like, you can call me Sir Norbert, but no one's going to. Everybody just started calling him Norby right away, right from the beginning. So that's his story. Yep.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So, I mean, my mind has been blown as an alum. I did not know that Norby Knight was Sir Norbert. I didn't know it.
Well, I think when we first, so he was launched, or we introduced him to the campus at a halftime of a football game. We brought out a big box, and then we lifted the box up, and there he was. And that day, I think he was called Sir Norbert. After that, I think Norby just sort of fit.
Yeah, yeah, it was like a one-time thing.
And it's like one of those things where you make something, and then the people interact with it. It's like you make a piece of art and people interact with it, and it's not mine anymore. It's not the committee's anymore. It's not the people who vote. It's like the whole community, and things change, and so it changed right away.
Well, you really helped obviously you created Norby, but you really helped him come to life and have a story, and you did that a few years later.
Yes, I think 2013. And Norby had a backstory too that was developed by the Office of Communications too. So he had that. He had like a story about where he came from and all that. But I really, when that came up, it was basically like my bosses looked around and said, they knew I was working on the picture book stuff, and they knew that this was a passion for me. And I remember one day my boss sat me down and said, if you ever have an idea, we'd be willing to listen. If you have an idea for a picture book or something for Norby, I think that would be a good product, but it needs the right story. So if you have a story, you pitch it to us, and we'll see what happens. They
basically cut the chains off right there, and they just let you go.
Yep. So I came back probably a lot faster than they thought with a story that I wanted to develop, and they thought they loved it, and
a lot of people love it.
They asked me to make it. So yeah, it was super fun. That was super fun. That was taking my passion for Norbert College and my passion for picture books and bringing them together was a special thing. When they told me I could pitch them an idea, I had lots of ideas that I was thinking for other things, for normal picture books that weren't St. Norbert related. And I had one story. It's an old story called The Stonecutter, and it's been told lots of times. And I love that story. And when I got this project, I thought, would it be cool if I took the idea and the theme of the stonecutter story and brought it into a college setting and had Norby as the main character. And it just sort of, it was one of those things that clicked really fast.
It fit.
It fit. Yeah, it was great. And it's, Stonecutter's all about like finding your place in the world and understanding your role in the world. And yeah, it worked really well in a college setting, I thought.
Mm-hmm. I think it really relates to like the whole premise of a Green Knight, to like the medieval storytelling in a way. Knights of the Round Table. It just reminds me of a lot of like the fairy tales kind of that we've been told also throughout the years as kids. I do have to give a little plug for your kids, because when Norby the College Mascot first came out, you and your kids made this adorable video talking about the Stonecutter and how that helped create the story behind the actual picture book. And you and your kids you really outdid yourselves. It might be the cutest thing I've seen.
That happened several years later during COVID, because everybody's at home and we're just looking for content. And other authors with their books were doing read alouds to help parents out and everything. And I'm like, we should do one. And I got my kids right here. And so we did that, and it was chaotic. As you can tell, I didn't edit everything out of all the side conversations, but it's like how you read a picture book with a real life kid. It's like you're going to read a little bit, and then you talk to them, and they talk to you. And then maybe you get back to the story, and maybe the story changes. It's so that video really kind of captured like what it is in real life to have to read a picture book with a couple kids.
Let's play a soundbite from that, and then we'll also link to the full video in when we post this podcast. But let's hear a soundbite from it.
What do you think is going to happen?
I think he's gonna become the student. Yeah, I do.
You think he's going to change into a student? Okay, so if Norby's going to change into a student, how would he look different?
Because he would look like tinier and like have some hair and like.
Oh, you think he's going to have some hair? Okay, instead of the plume, he'll have some hair. And you think he's going to wear maybe some earbuds? Do you think college kids wear earbuds?
But maybe he doesn't wear like his night uniform.
Yeah.
He's a student.
Yeah, so he'd have to wear something other than his night uniform, because he's not a knight anymore, right? All right, should we see what happens? I wish, Norby said to himself, I wish I was a student. And then, to his surprise, he was.
Something else that came out of the book is Norby's ice cream stand. And we have Norby's ice cream stand on campus during the summers. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, this is the great thing about doing a story, when I said making something and letting the community be whatever it, use it however they want to use it. That just came up about without me at all, right? So all of a sudden one day there's an ice cream stand with Norby. Mm-hmm. So that was I just felt like it was that's great. I mean, I had nothing to do with that, and it's fantastic that they take a little bit of stuff that we create, and it's stuff we do this not just with Norby, but with all the stories that we try to tell, and all the traditions that either come up through the students or through the staff or through the faculty, and you just try to carry that on, mm-hmm. and you see how people react to it, and you let it grow, and that's an opportunity, or that's a thing that happened because we just let the story grow.
And when you created the book, was that an inspiration then to reach out to other authors and picture book lovers?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I've got so many stories. It's just something that when you're trying to do this, it's just one of the stories that you have. I don't think the picture book was necessarily a reason why I wanted to reach out to other authors and illustrators. I just want to talk to them about how they do their stuff, right? Mm-hmm. But the book, the best thing about the book is when you get to meet people who've read the story, or you get to meet, the kids that really love the story.
Yeah.
And you think about what you want out of when you start making illustrations, when you start telling stories, like what do you want? What's your end goal? And you're like, I mean, there's I want to be like a New York Times bestseller, but really what you want is to make the thing and then have people love it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. That's all you can ask. And to have like families come up to you and say, this is my daughter's favorite book, and this is the book we read, every night. I mean, there's really nothing better than that, right? So it's been a special project.
And the community loved it. So if people want to get the book, how should they go about doing that?
Well, we're kind of in a transition period, but if you just want to email me, and we'll find a way.
Okay, got it. And that's nick.patton@snc.edu?
Correct.
Okay, awesome. Let's talk now a little bit about how your love for storybooks and picture books has really come to life through your podcast. What is your podcast called? I know we talked a little bit about it before. Sure. Let's give the story behind that.
Yeah, boy, that's so much of a salesman I am. I didn't even tell you the name of the podcast. The podcast is called Picture Booking.
Okay.
And it's available wherever you get podcasts. Yeah, it's a long form interview show with authors and illustrators, just about how they make their books and why. Like I said, it's been super fun. One of my favorite guests was Dan Santat, and it was, maybe 10 years into it, you'll think about those first early shows. You're like, those are the shows that really meant something, because you're brand new and you don't know what you're doing. Or maybe you probably know what you're doing, but I didn't know what I was doing. And but I got Dan on, and we talked about his book Beagle, and I loved it. Was my favorite story that came out that year, and I was so excited to talk to him, and we had this great conversation. And then I was going to air the show, but I think 3 days or 4 days before the show aired, he won the Caldecott for that book. So it was this amazing synergy where I got to pretend like I was like on top of the picture book world, that I knew that Dan was gonna win this amazing award, the biggest award in picture books. So they had audio of them at ALA announcing that he won, and I contacted ALA and said, that audio would be just perfect for the intro to my podcast that I'm going to air in a couple days. And they said, oh, sure, take it. So I had this amazing moment where I had this conversation like right at the right time.
The timing
with Dan. Wow. And he was such a great guy and so open to why and how, and it was such a great conversation. We had a conversation a year later, or a couple of years later, on another book, and he's just one of those things where you're like, getting to talk to a guy at that level, like before he was nationally recognized, before he was probably anybody knew how hard that guy was working. He was probably the hardest working illustrator, and then getting to talk to him again. And there's 100 more stories like that, and people that, like you said, for an hour, you've made yourself a new best friend.
Mm-hmm. That's so neat. Yeah. That's so neat. I feel like as a mom, it's really cool to be able to understand the stories and the authors' points of view on how they created these stories. Because you read them, especially if your kid really likes them, you read them maybe a million times. Yeah. So getting that perspective on how it was created, why it was created, is really neat.
Yeah. Yeah, and for me, it was just inspirational. Every time you'd sit down and you'd hear their struggles or and how hard they worked, or how easy, like sometimes, like, how one story would be super easy, but the next story would just be like pulling teeth. Mm-hmm. And it's that creative process that is inspiring for anybody, whatever you're making. It's all the same.
So you have all this history with picture books and with telling stories. Do you have anything in the works right now?
Yeah, it's funny. So like, I was doing the podcast. The podcast is paused for a bit. I've paused it because I was working on, so like you work at St. Norbert, right? I work here, and that's a full-time job. And then you've got your family life, and I've got 3 kids that are amazing. But 2 of them are in activities. One of them is still like a wild 3-year-old. So at the time, a wild 2-year-old. And I thought maybe I'll take a break from the podcast. And then I said I'm going to take a break. I said I was going to quit. So I was going to quit everything, right? I was not going to, quit the podcast and quit illustration. I wasn't able to do much illustration when I was doing the podcast or write stories. And so for 2024, I took the whole year off, and it was tough. But I'm like, nope, this whole year I'm just going to not do anything. Just, be a normal person, go to work, spend time with my family, and not have this huge side project. And it kind of drove me crazy, to be honest. And you find out, I have nothing wrong. I think people should try quitting. I think, I think that's important to see. So I wanted to try it, and it didn't work out, and I had to come back to it. So I made it all the way through 2024, but the first day of 2025, I signed up for an online community of illustrators, where we get to chat with professionals. And I said, this 2025, this year, I'm focusing just on illustration and building up that portfolio and going at it again. I've done self-publishing. I've done the Norby book, and I feel like I want to take another shot at the big leagues. Going after
Good for you.
So this year has been all about rebuilding that portfolio, and I sat down with a group a couple days ago, and we looked at what I've done in the last 6 months, and we feel like there's 2 pieces that I can probably build a portfolio around that is at the level that it needs to be. And so I'm super excited about that.
Okay, so this is how much Nick doesn't like talking about himself. I work in the same office as you, and I did not know this prior to recording this podcast. I really had no idea.
Everybody else knows. I just keeping it from you so we could just have this moment.
Oh,
right
okay,
here,
got it.
right?
Well played.
Yeah.
That is so cool. And good for you for following your passion and following your heart. It can't, you can't be stopped when it comes to your love for this.
Yeah, you just find out, quitting, you find out how much it really mattered to you, and you really missed it. And I think it's about just being an artist at some level and wanting to create and wanting to create the stuff that you want to make and want to see in the world. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter if I'm successful at it in the sense of published work and stuff like that. It just matters that you're out there doing it, I think, for me, and still pursuing that, right? Don't want to cut yourself short. I mean, you want to get there, but the fun and the joy is in the making of the thing, and no one can stop you. They can do all the AI stuff they want, and all this could go away, and I'd still be making stories and making art.
Very well said. You bring up AI. From a graphic artist perspective, how has technology changed throughout your career, and how does that influence and impact you today?
Photoshop work that used to take me hours can take me, 30 seconds now. It's crazy. It's crazy how fast it's changed. But you use it as a tool, right? And
which is how anyone should use it,
right? And it's just a new tool, and we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I don't know. I'm not an expert in any of that stuff. I pay attention to it just because you have to. It's just like anything else. There's still as long as a place like St. Norbert is all about the person, right? So I just don't know how we interact with this new thing, if it acts like a human but isn't a human. I mean, I don't know. I have no idea.
A lot to find out.
Yeah, but like I said, it doesn't. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter to me.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Whatever it is, I know who I am and I know what I want to do, and I'm going to go do that.
And we're very lucky to have that.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to switch over to our lightning round now. Rapid fire for
I don't do rapid fire, but okay.
Okay, well, then we'll probably go over it, but that's okay. All right, we'll have Tom start the clock. Okay, starting off with our normal, most influential person in your life.
Probably my kids, I'd say. Yeah. I mean, I'm not a hero worshiper, so there's not a whole lot of people that I look up to. There's a lot of people that influenced me, like, at St. Norbert, like Professor Bill Bonet, is just how to be an artist, would be one of them. Brian Pierman, Professor Brian Pierman for, graphic design. And, Drew Van Fossen, who was my first boss here and worked for a long time, was an amazing graphic designer. So, and if I keep going on, then I'll have to start naming like my mom and my dad. But in different parts. Nobody that I would want to change who I am for.
Yes.
Something like that.
Okay, wonderful. Favorite picture book as a kid?
I brought it here. Do you mind if I can show it again?
Yes, please share.
So it's like something that it's an easy reader. It's called The Boy Who Fooled the Giant. And it's really old, and it was the book that I have other books that influenced me, but like this one right here is one that I care about a lot, and I would sit there and read. That's my book. The other one would be The True Story of the Three Little Pigs. That's a more famous story.
Okay.
And I got to interview Lane Smith for the podcast, so that was so fun.
Nice little plug there.
Yeah. So he's one of the recent ones. So you can find him right away.
Cool.
Those stories are the ones that really when I look back at, I love.
Thank you for sharing that. Your dream podcast guest?
Murray Sendek. So
Okay.
Where the Wild Things Are. I know he's passed, but when I started the show, that was the guy, right? And I think anybody who makes children's books, Murray Sendek there's nobody better.
Kind of like a football fan, like Vince Lombardi.
Yeah. Yep.
Awesome.
Yep.
Your favorite food in the calf?
Oh, we got to go old school. Before the calf was as fantastic as the calf is now, it was still pretty good.
Okay.
And so it's chicken strips.
Oh.
And we used to, used to get a box, and I could fit the most chicken strips in that box. You wouldn't believe it. And maybe you'd have to kind of sneak it out of the calf because they would probably be upset with how many chicken strips were in there, but it would last you forever.
Okay.
It's chicken strips.
What did you do that when you didn't have a meal plan?
You do it when you need to do it, right?
When you're a college student.
When a college student, and when you're like a young single guy who just wants lots of meals. So yeah, that was the meal. That was circled on my calendar when chicken strips came up.
Couldn't miss it.
Uh-uh.
Oh, I love it. Okay, describe S&C in one word. This is gonna be very insightful. I feel it.
So the word I used to use was home because it's where I spent most of my time. But now I would say family. And I'd say family because can I keep going?
Yes.
Let me just tell you.
We're over time, but it's fine.
I don't know. I would say family because this place is a place where it's not friends. It's deeper than that. But family means like you have to figure it out. You don't get to choose everybody that's in your family, but you have to love them. And I think that's what St. Norbert does the best. So we don't have to agree on everything. We don't have to be the same. Like I don't have to be the same as you. You don't have to be the same as me for us to still respect one another. And I think when St. Norbert is at its best, it treats everybody on this campus like family. So I like that thought. And I think that's where this community is the strongest.
I would have to agree with that. We're going to go off the template that I had for the episode, which I love doing. You went to school here. You've been here for so long. You stuck around, and you tell people this when you're in interviews for people that are applying for jobs here. Why have you stuck around so long? I
mean, there's lots of reasons. I mean, I do love the place. I love the people. My boss used to get mad when I give this answer to this question, because 5 years you're still there, 10 years you're still there, and I used to tell him, my life is awesome. I wouldn't trade it for anybody. So why would I? Why I don't? It would need to be something extraordinarily different than what I do here, because I love coming to work and serving students and giving them the same St. Norbert College education that I received, right? And the fact that I get to promote that and is a special thing, and it would take a lot for me to leave here, because I have so much fun outside of St. Norbert. When I tell people about St. Norbert College, I'm like, one of my favorite things is we've got our little Latin sayings, and I don't remember the exact Latin, but one of them is action and one of them is contemplation. And I said, right there, you put those two together, and what do you get? You get balance. Mm-hmm. And that's I love the balance that I receive in my life, and that's because of the St. Norbert education, and because of the fact that I work here. I feel like I can really lean into that balance. And when I'm here, I work hard, but when I'm at home, playing with the kids or making a podcast or doing an illustration, I get to do all those things. And none are more important than the other. Yeah. It's about that balance, and I wouldn't change this life for anything. So that's why I don't see any reason to leave it.
Thank you. Thanks for saying that. Yeah. Okay, turning to our Bible verse of the episode. This week, I asked you which one, because I couldn't decide which one I thought would be better, so I came to you, and you decided this, so we're going to get your perspective on it. It's Matthew chapter 18, verse 3. It reads, "Truly I tell you, unless you change and become like little children, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven." So why that one, Nick?
Oh, because I have so much respect for kids. Like, I don't know, some people, like in the adult world, you hear like, oh, you work on little kids' books, and they kind of like looking down on that. But I look up at kids. Mm-hmm. I just think the creativity that they have.
And you're a tall guy, so.
The openness that they have to the world, the ability to just take what life brings you and to be in the moment, flow state. I, as an artist and as a creative and somebody who wants to be productive, you talk about flow state, right? And you watch a little kid, and just like instantly they're like, they can play like no one's business. Mm-hmm. And it's so that scripture that you read there, it talks about like becoming a kid, and that seems. I was thinking like, oh, that's really hard. It's really hard for me. I feel like I do a lot of adulting. But then I think, this weekend, my wife was gone with my daughter at a play, and I got to spend the morning with my two sons, and we watched Peter Pan for a little bit, and soon we were playing Peter Pan, and I got to be Peter. Ooh, so they were Hook and Smee, and I was Peter. So I guess I do get to live a little bit of that. I was told I'm not very good at crowing. Oh, okay. So
you got to work on that.
I got to work on that. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's like I respect. I really respect what kids do, and right there in the Bible, you see how important it is to understand and to respect their perspective and what they bring to the table.
In a dark world that we can live in at times, spend a day with a kid and you will feel so much better about the future.
Yep. Agreed.
In closing, we have a lot of artists that are probably listening to this, a lot of prospective S&C students. What kind of advice do you have for someone who is an aspiring picture book enthusiast, maybe an illustrator, maybe a writer, someone who wants to get into graphic design? What's your one piece of advice that you can think of?
It's easy, and it was some advice that was given to me. I would ask this question at the podcast, and there's two that stand out, but this one is the one I'll share with you. They said, make stuff and then show it to people, and then when you're done with that, make something else and show it to people. That's it. It's all. You just got to make stuff. If you're a creative and you're not making something, something's wrong. You just got to go out and make it, and not worry about whether not worry about whether it's trending or you make the thing that you want to make. And don't let anybody stop you from doing that. Whether it becomes, professional work or acclaimed or whatever, it doesn't really matter. You make stuff and you show it to people. That's your job as a creative.
Yeah, you're almost doing a disservice if you don't.
Yep. The other advice, because, you give me a second there, would be don't listen to all advice. Ask everybody their advice, but just pick and choose the ones that really resonate with you. And I really think that's genius because, sometimes you can hear things that don't hit and you think, well, this person's successful. I gotta figure out a way to make this part of my life. No, you listen to the things that really hit you.
Amen.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right. Thanks for coming on the show, Nick. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Introvert's going to not talk for the rest of the day.
Yeah, you need to recharge now.
Yep.
All right, we'll go let you recharge.
All right, thank you.